Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer, the DRF race of the day for Saturday, August the 15th, race number 9 at Saratoga. It's the Grade 1 Alabama for 3-year-old fillies. We're going a mile and a quarter. Before we get to the analysis, head on over to the Saratoga handicapping shop on DRF.com, DRF.com/spa to be exact, for PPs, picks, clocker reports, betting strategies, and all the must-have tools to win big at the spa. Here's the field for the Grade 1 Alabama 3-year-old fillies, perhaps prepping for the Kentucky Oaks. Swiss Skydiver tries to match what Gamine did last week. Gamine, tremendous performance in the test on the heels of her victory in the Acorn, staking claim perhaps to being the leading 3-year-old filly in the country. Well, Swiss Skydiver's done little wrong. She could take that back with a win in the Alabama.
Yeah, she will. I guess in a lot of ways, as a parallel to Gamine too, is, because Gamine, I feel like the only question with her now is, how far will she go? Swiss Skydiver, she can get 2 turns, Dan. She's been in really good form. Now she's got to get a mile and a quarter. Will she get it? Do you want to take even money to find out?
Well, let's take a look at the Timeform U.S. pace projector. The good news as it pertains to Swiss Skydiver is she is a very tactical horse. Timeform U.S. has her on the lead. I'm not sure if I completely agree with that, Mike. I think Crystal Ball is going to be very aggressively ridden by Javier Castellano, take advantage of his sort of inside post, and maybe take the race to Swiss Skydiver a bit. Swiss Skydiver can sit.
Yeah, I think she'll sit up close as well. I think they will leave there running with her, Dan. I agree with you. I sort of felt like Crystal Ball might be on the lead early in this race. But even if that's the case, it really is not supposed to compromise Swiss Skydiver because, as you mentioned, she's very tactical.
Swiss Skydiver is trained by Kenny McPeak, but so is the number 1, Envoûtante. And in watching Envoûtante run, you get the feeling that this daughter of Uncle Mo is going to appreciate distance. She's still learning the game. Her win at Churchill Downs 2 starts back. She didn't change leads. She didn't have to. She was much the best. She ran in the Ashland against 2 of the better 3-year-old fillies in the country last time out, Speech and Venetian Harbor, who acquitted herself quite nicely with a runner-up effort to Gamine with a 95 buyer in the test. This horse is a little bit of a sleeper. I think she'll be running late.
Yeah, I think she's pretty good too. I do think there could be some improvement coming for her down the line as well. I just don't know if this is the spot for it or not, Dan. We'll see. She ran fine in the Ashland last time, but all things considered, she got a really good trip. And I think it just goes to show you how good Speech and how good Venetian Harbor are, because she could never really get into contention with those 2 horses. And she was not a threat through the stretch in that race, picking up 3rd. We'll see if she takes a step forward. I guess I wouldn't be surprised. I also didn't feel like I wanted to bet her in here.
Spice is nice, the number 2, a 7-figure yearling by Curlin, got off this year on the right foot with a big victory at Gulfstream, a graded stakes placing. She missed some time with illness, then came back with this race at Belmont Park, and she just caught the right field off the layoff. She's 1-2, and she handles this field very easily. This is not a good field. 5 horses came back to run. None hit the board in their next starts, with the best buyer being a 79. But Spice is nice, ran fast, and could easily move forward second off the layoff.
Yeah, she ran well in here. And she, sort of looked like she was cut out to be a good horse right from the start for Pletcher. So we'll see what happens, Dan. You're right that, that last race, though, did not flatter her at all. Really, the only other horse in there who had shown any real potential was the runner-up, C'est Moi, and she came back up here last week. They stretched her out to 9 furlongs, and she was bad. She finished last as a very heavy favorite. We'll see. She's obviously, Spice is nice. She's facing a way tougher field here. I think she's going to get the distance. I just don't know. I feel like she's going to take money in here, Dan, and I don't want a short price on this horse.
Crystal Ball, the number 3, has yet to take a backward step, and she's still all upside for Bob Baffert. Let's watch the daughter of Malibu Moon's first start against winners in the Grade 1 Coaching Club American Oaks, and she took the race to everybody. She's down on the inside. That's Paris Lights, who unfortunately is sidelined and will miss the Alabama on the outside. Crystal Ball's digging in real gamely here, Mike. This is a nice performance, first start mile and an 1/8. Now she's got to get an extra 1/8, with perhaps Swiss Skydiver pushing her early.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like, in that race that we just watched at the CCA Oaks, the winner there just sort of sat right alongside her and raced her the entire way. And it feels like she could be in for more of the same here with Swiss Skydiver. I don't know, Dan. She has more upside. I think she can improve again. I liked her last time. I thought she ran fine, but I got to be honest, I don't really want anybody out of that CCA Oaks. That did not look like a good race to me. I know this horse can improve, but I don't want to bet her back.
Maybe I've just been wrong all along about Bonnie South. I think this filly has a lot of ability. I like the way she won at Oaklawn Park, her entry-level optional claimer. I like the way she won the Fairgrounds Oaks, even though you could probably say that race was more noteworthy because the favorite Finite just didn't show up. She didn't run in the Ashland. She just did not fire at all. I wonder if maybe Brad Cox was using that as a prep to stretch her out. But that being said, as a daughter of Munnings, how far does she really want to go?
Yeah, distance could be a question for her as well. But listen, it's a question for everybody in this field. I don't know if she wants to go this far. She didn't run great in the Ashland, but I mean, when you really go back and look at it, what kind of chance did she have in that race, really? The two big favorites in there went 1-2 around the track. Nobody made up any ground. This horse was off, I don't know, 3 or 4 month layoff in that race. I don't know. I just didn't want to be too hard on her for it, Dan. Like you, maybe the Fairgrounds Oaks was just a bad race. I thought she ran really well in there, and I really liked the way that she finished in that race, especially. She sat it out, and she came with a big run through the stretch. If she can do that in here, I think she gets a piece of this race.
Swiss Skydiver has won graded stakes this year at Gulfstream, Oaklawn, at Santa Anita, and she is just looking for a grade 1. She almost beat the boys last time out at Keeneland. Let's watch the grade 2 Bluegrass, where she went off the favorite. She was aggressive early, got the lead in the rail 3 furlongs from home, and Art Collector has to work till about the 8th pole, and then he puts Swiss Skydiver away. Swiss Skydiver ran very well, but there was really no closing going on in this race.
Yeah, you're right about that. And again, listen, maybe this is just a situation where the two best horses dominated this race, and whether or not the closers ran doesn't really make a difference. I thought Swiss Skydiver ran really well in that race, Dan. She went into that spot off of 3 very impressive wins in a row. She's clearly, if she's not at the top of the 3-year-old filly division, she's up there, with the best 2 or 3 fillies around right now. Maybe she won't get 1.25 miles, but she's supposed to get a good trip in this race, and she's just way the horse to beat.
And of course, Art Collector came back to win the Ellis Park Derby with a 100 buyer speed figure, his 3rd consecutive triple-digit number, and he is on to Kentucky for the Derby. Harvey's Little Goyle is a stakes winner on dirt at 9 furlongs, a stakes winner on turf at 10 furlongs. Good tactical speed for Bill Mott. A little bit slow on paper, Mike, but this is a horse that acts like she wants to run all day long, and I think she's adaptable to any kind of a pace scenario.
Yeah, I agree with that. She can run on either surface. Obviously, when they switched her back to turf last time, she took a pretty big step forward and earned a 90 buyer in winning that grade 3. And you know what? Mott could have run her on Sunday in the Saratoga Oaks going on turf, long on turf for the same purse as this race. So the fact that he's going to run her in the Alabama is probably a good sign for her. Her 2 dirt races as a 2-year-old were really good. She was, no factor behind Swiss Skydiver in the fantasy off a layoff, Dan, but she had some early traffic in that race and then just really didn't fire. I didn't really want to hold that race against her. I think she's going to run well in here.
Fire Coral in number 7 had a terrible trip in the fantasy, while no match for Swiss Skydiver, and I was expecting her to do better on a drop in class. And well, she's dropped in class now twice. No disrespect to She Dares the Devil, who's a pretty good 2nd-tier 3-year-old filly in her own right. But the punch just hasn't been there, and her lack of early speed really puts her behind the 8 ball. Will she come running late? Well, she's bred to handle 1.25 miles, but she probably has to run the race of her life.
Yeah, that's how I looked at it too. I mean, going back to her fantasy, I felt like she was really could have been a horse to follow out of that race. She had a brutal trip in there and actually ran deceptively well. But like you, I haven't really been taken by her 2 starts since then, and it just made it hard for me to really like her in here.
Top pick time for the grade 1 Alabama, the Saturday race of the day. I'll chalk out. I think Swiss Skydiver's going to get the trip. I think she's going to get the jump on these horses turning for home, and we'll see if she can get that elusive grade 1. I like that you're keeping the faith with one of my favorites, Bonnie South. Brad Cox is a very smart trainer, and something tells me he's been planning for this race and the Kentucky Oaks, the big 2, ever since she won at the Fairgrounds.
Yeah, I guess we'll see what happens here. She's going to have to improve, Dan, but I did like her races earlier this year. I think she is set to take a step forward in here. I don't know if it'll be enough. I don't know if she wants to go 1.25 miles either, but I'll tell you something. I want a horse who's going to be finishing in here. And based on her Fairgrounds Oaks, I think she might be finishing in this race. I was torn between her and Harvey's Little Goyle. I'll take this one on top.
Mike's going with prices, keying on the 4 and the 6 over the favorite Swiss Skydiver. I'll go 5-2-1-3. It's the Grade 1 Alabama, classic distance of 1.25 miles, prep for the Kentucky Oaks, Swiss Skydiver. Who can really ask for anything more? Approximate post time, 5:43 Eastern. Best of luck.